Hey there! You're listening to What the Frickative Podcast. If you're looking for an SLP podcast that is raw, unfiltered, and authentic, you've come to the right place. Join us as we chat about grad school survival, daily struggles and successes of an SLP, and stories from all of you. You'll be sure to laugh, learn, and maybe even cry, but that's okay. We're here to support each other through it all. And now, here is your host, Sam, from Speaking of Semantics.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for listening to the What the Frickative podcast. We have my lovely friend Lorenz here, who is a Black, beautiful, male clinical fellow, speech language pathologist, who's here to tell us a little bit about his grad school experiences, some challenges that he faced, and just share his story, because I think that his story will really resonate with a lot of people out there. And whether it resonates with you or not, I think that you need to hear this, because there is discrimination that happens within our field every single day. And if we don't continue to talk about it and continue to make it public, we're going to continue to have stories like Lorenz has, and that's not fair. We don't need that. We need more people like him to be in this field and feel welcome to be in this field. So welcome, Lorenz.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Yes, I'm so happy to be your first podcast.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, so I always like to start my podcast and just ask my guests, who are you outside of the speech pathology world? I know as speech pathologists, we tend to make it our personality, to say the least. So we want to know about you and who you are outside of the speech world.
Awesome. Again, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like myself, I'm very spontaneous. I like to be creative. I do not like being in the same place too long at one point. I like to do different things that basically I haven't done before. So if that is just going to a restaurant I've never been to before, or going to a trail that I've never been to before, I like to do things like that. I'm very active. That's another thing about myself. I'm always moving. So during sessions, or even like outside of sessions, outside of therapy, outside of the speech world, I like to go running. I like to go hiking. I'm like, oh, let's go rock climbing. I've never done it before. Let's do it.
Good for you.
I'm planning on going skydiving soon because I feel very spontaneous to do it.
That's so funny you said that, because I literally said to my boyfriend, I'm like, I'm going skydiving for my birthday this year. I don't care.
Goodness.
I just need something good for you, because I just need to feel alive sometimes, and constantly doing new things. It keeps your life spicy.
And that's what it is. I want to do something that makes me feel alive. I don't ever want to feel like I reached the ceiling, because I feel like there's always something you can do to just kind of expand your horizon, to try new things. And there's so much out there to try. So outside of work, I would just say I'm genuinely very spontaneous. I like to do things that are fun. I do have my moments where I like to be alone. Everybody loves their alone time.
Yeah.
And I do like to have my alone time, of course, but I do like to have that company of friends, family, in those moments that I can.
Yeah, good for you. What a killer guy you are. That's awesome. I commend that, because keep those kind of characteristics, because it's very easy to get stuck in a rut and kind of get stuck in your daily activities, especially as an SLP, because all day we spend helping others and pouring into other people's cups, and we forget about our own. So keep pouring into your own cup, because the more you do that, the more you can honestly just be present in therapy sessions, because you know that after therapy, there's a life outside of speech therapy, but there's also, you have enough energy and enough motivation to be there for your clients 100%.
Exactly. I love that. That's exactly how I feel. I feel like there's always something more to learn about, or something more to go explore. So yeah. I definitely resonate with that.
Yeah, that's exactly why you're an SLP, because we need that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So did you always tell us a little bit about your journey to, not through grad school yet, but just like getting to grad school? Was speech pathology something you always wanted to do? Did you stumble upon it?
This is what happened. Okay. So my mom, she told me when I was younger that I just had this thing. I had this way of just wanting to help people. Like, it was, whether it was in like third grade, I think, and I was just wanting to work with the students that didn't have a lot of friends. I'm like, let's let them join the group. It's just something naturally that I just wanted to do. And then my cousin, and I spoke to her about this before I talked about it, but she basically was stuttering a lot when she was younger, and I just wanted to help her read. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know about speech therapy yet. I had no idea it even existed. I just wanted her to be able to read her stories that she wanted to without that stutter. That stutter was really hard for her. It caused her feelings of being bullied and just like feeling like she can't express herself or talk. So in that moment, I'm like, I see how you're struggling. I just want to help you. I don't know how to help you, but
Right.
let's slow down. I'm like, let's just slow down the words. I'm not knowing any therapeutic interventions here. I'm just going for it. And after a while, I used to like just babysit her. She's a lot younger than I was at the time, but I would genuinely just help her read. And then my mom was like, "You're pretty good at this." I'm like, "Thank you." My aunt was like, "You're pretty good at this." And I was like, "Thank you." And I'm like, it just feels like it's my natural thing. And then once I got to undergrad, I actually wanted to go to school for journalism and broadcasting because
Oh,
I
wow.
love to talk. Yeah, I love to talk. And my mom, she always pushed this speech therapy. She's like, "You'll be so great. You can do it. You can do it." And I honestly, I was nervous about the grad school aspect. That's why I
Yeah.
honestly was nervous about the field. I was like, I know I have to go to graduate school. I know I'm very intelligent. I know that I have what it takes to get through school. But at the same time, you always have that voice in your head where you're like, more school, it gets harder. You don't know. So I think the unknown was what scared me more. So I went to school actually for journalism and broadcasting. And then my first semester, I actually came across a speech therapist that worked at A&T. I went to North Carolina A&T, and I spoke to a speech therapist that was there, and she just praised how well I was with just talking to people when it came to my communication, when it came to my articulation, just when it came to just in general. She was like, "You just speak very well." I was like, "Thank you." I was like, "I'm in school for this." And she was like, "What about this?" And just that fast, when she introduced me to it, and I was like, "Oh, wow, my mom actually talks about this all the time." It just all merged together.
Yeah.
So by my freshman year, by my second semester of freshman year, I had switched my major. I was like, I want to be a speech therapist. This is what I want to do. I've been doing this basically my whole life. This is what I want to do. So that's how I actually became a part of the speech therapy world when it came to undergrad. And I was still nervous about grad school, nervous about graduate school. It's like that thing you hear that where you're like, oh, it's harder, it's more concrete. You have to do certain things a certain way. But overall, I'm so glad I made the change because I feel like I'm making such a difference in not even just my cousin's life, but like in everyone's life that I'm coming across. And I love to talk, as you can see. I'm talking a
No,
lot.
I love it. Talk. This is why I
I
brought you
love
on. I want you to talk the entire time. No, I really like a lot of things that you brought up there. One in specific, the unknown of graduate school. Um, I often get a lot of pushback on my page telling people saying that, oh, you're scaring me. Oh, you're scaring me because you keep talking about graduate school. Oh, are you saying that I shouldn't go to grad school? And I want to say this out now and just in general in relation to your story that I'm never trying to scare anyone to go into graduate school. I would rather everyone try to go into graduate school. It's just that, like you said, there's just so much unknown that I'm trying to make people more aware of what actually happens in grad school. I feel like it's so much better to like step into grad school and know, okay, this is going to be hard. I know I really have to focus on my mental health because no one is going to tell me that. I know that I'm going to have really bad days, really good days. I know that some supervisors won't get along with me. Just going in there knowing all that. I feel like when I stepped in grad school, I was so bright-eyed and bushy-tailed that by like the second week, I was like, holy crap, like I'm done. Like I want to give
That's
up
me.
already. Like I had
Sam, that
no
was me.
idea. I was so optimistic and I was just so, I guess, blind to all the things that happened in grad school. When I just stepped in the door, it was just immediate. It just felt like they just wanted to put my flame out immediately. So I just feel like talking more about the stuff that happens in graduate school for two reasons. One, because at least you know that's what you're going to get into. We know what the end goal is. We know we all have to go through this. But two, hopefully talking about it a lot more will help it change. Like we need to talk a lot more about mental health in graduate school. I know you'll talk a little bit about your graduate experience, but grad students are going through it. They are going through it, and it is just not
It's
fair.
such a huge thing. Mental health is so huge, especially since COVID happened. And I was a COVID grad student. So, like, just in general, like, even I think, no, for sure, my professor, she had a section of the class where we just talked about mental health. And I
Yeah.
love that because we're all going through, we already know that COVID is a big thing. And then we're like, we're in graduate school. And it was just like a lot going on. And our mental health was so important for you to continue. And
Yeah.
if you don't have that mental health, if you don't have a plan for your mental health, you can't just say, okay, I'm going to work on mental health and just go up. You have to like really sit down and be like, okay, this is what I need for myself
Right.
to mentally get myself prepared for this next week or this next day. And that's what I resonate with that because that's how I felt.
Yeah. And I bet that professor that kind of sat you down and asked you guys, like, how are you? You'll remember that professor for probably the rest of your life.
Exactly, I will. And she was such a good mentor. And then just in general, I was like, I appreciated that. And she was actually one of the only ones that did that when I was in grad school. And I was like, I loved your class because I'm like, I know we're stressing,
Yeah.
but taking the 10 minutes, 15 minutes out of your class time just to check on us. And I appreciated that.
Exactly. Yeah. Graduate school is rough, and those little check-ins really matter and they really make a difference because it makes us feel as graduate students like we're human. A lot of the times we have that feeling that we're just a statistic, we're just yet another student that walks through this door. But no, when professors and faculty, they already have a lot of stuff on their plate, but when they take a second to just treat us like humans and treat us like they want us to be here and treat us like the colleagues we're soon going to be to them.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's a big part, treating us as if we are going to get there one day, not as if we are robots and we just don't have feelings and emotions and things.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And the constant kind of need to prove ourselves and the millions of dollars that I spent on the application process prove to you that I want to be here. Like, I love when
I'm
they're
with you
like,
with
oh,
that.
you're just trying to make grad school easier. I'm like,
Yeah.
any person who goes through that application process is not asking for easier. They're just asking to
Exactly.
survive. No one willingly
Exactly.
goes through that process.
Exactly. I went through, I think I applied to 8 schools. And my mom was like, let's apply to two more. And I'm like, Mom, honestly, like as much time, each application is different. That process is so nerve-wracking. And you get your hopes up and then sometimes you get let down. And it's okay because I genuinely think everything happens for a reason. But at the same time, I just feel like in that moment, you just really want to just feel like you have the opportunity. It's all about just getting the opportunity to be able to help and to be able to do speech therapy in the world, be able to like help those around you. That's how
Yeah.
it feels that moment.
Yeah. We love Mama Clark. She seems
So
to be
what?
a fan.
I'll tell you that, Sam. She's gonna be like, "Oh my goodness."
She is awesome. She already knows what's up.
Right.
So you applied to 8 schools. I'm curious, how many did you get into?
I did not get into my first 4. My first 4 schools I applied to, denied. And that was another part of this process that made it it wasn't harder, but it just it made you feel like, wow, am I good enough to do this? Am I ever going to have the opportunity to prove myself? My GPA was around the average of what they wanted it to be to get into grad school. And I had extracurriculars. I had everything that they say you needed, but at the same time, it's all about that university and what they're looking for. And I feel like at that moment, I felt I just didn't have what that university was looking for, or at that university was not right for me at that moment. And that's how I felt. And my mom, she was constantly reminding me, like, you're going to get into one of these schools. You're going to get into one of these schools. And I told her, I said, Mom, the very first school that accepts me, I'm going to take it with open arms and I'm going to go for it. I don't care about who accepts me after or who accepts. I just want to go. The first school that accepts me, I'm going to go because they gave me the opportunity to do this. And that was Kent State. And that's how I ended up in Ohio.
That is pretty much the same exact story for me. I applied to 8 schools. I think it was the first 4 were denials. And I had told myself, and I love talking about the grad application process because I feel like it resonates a lot with people who are doing it now. But I had told my mom, I was just like, I'm just someone who naturally just went straight through school. Luckily, my grad school gave me an opportunity. But I told my mom, I was like, listen, I was still living at home. I was like, if I get denied, I'm going to be fine. I'll just take a year off. I happen to be working at an early intervention center for kids with hearing impairment. So I was just like, I'll work another year there. I'll redo my application. That first denial letter came in. I happened to get it before my mom could get it. I opened it up and she found me bawling on the couch, bawling. Yeah. And it's funny because I had promised her, I was like, I'm not going to cry. Like, I don't care. It is what it is. They're devastating. It's because when you're applying to these schools, you believe in yourself so much. And you're like, even for you, like people were telling you, like, you're made for this. You should do this. You're so good at this. And you're like, oh, heck yeah. Like, I'm good. Like, I'm going to apply. I'm going to do this. And then boom, like your ego gets shot down. Like you just feel like giving up.
Instantly.
Yeah. You feel like giving up. And it's a real shitty feeling. But, and then going back to my story. So I got into one school, I interviewed for there, and I was just like, I'm going. This is the school I'm going to. I got interviews for other schools after, and I was just like, forget them.
I'm like, this is the one. This is the one.
Yeah, exactly. So how is moving? Was this your first experience like living away from your family?
It was. And of course it was COVID. I felt honestly, This is the crazy thing about my experience. I was so excited to move, actually. I told you I like spontaneous. I like being in different
Yeah.
places, exploring. So initially, I did not really want to apply. I'm from North Carolina, so I did not really want to apply to a lot of schools around here because I just wanted to see what else was out there.
Yeah.
And I still feel like there's so much to see and go explore. So when I applied to schools in South Carolina or they were close to home, but they were like, you have to drive. So I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm getting out of that realm a little
Yeah.
bit. So I applied and finally Ohio, they accepted. And I honestly, I'm not going to lie. And I say this every single time. As soon as I started that interview, I was like, this is where I want to be. It was just such a good experience overall. I spoke to them. I was like, Mom, I want to go to Ohio. She's son, we're still in COVID. You don't have to move there right now. You're online for the first year. You don't have to move there. Nope, Mom, I'm going to move.
Bye.
Moving. I said, I don't care. I'm going. And honestly, I do not regret it to this day. I really don't regret it because I feel like myself getting there, we were eventually back in person towards the end of the program, towards the end of the 2 years. But in the beginning, yes, everyone was online, but I wanted to familiarize myself with the area. I wanted to separate myself from North Carolina and all of the distractions I had here because I have a lot of distractions. And I was just like, I just want to be in my own space. But when I got to Ohio, when I was actually there, and my mom, she stayed with me for a week because she was like, I want to make sure my baby's good, make sure my baby's
Love
good.
her. We can have
She's
her
like,
on the
she's like,
podcast.
look, I'm her first son to have gone that far. So she's Lorenz, you're spreading your wings. I'm like, yes, Mom, I'm ready to fly.
And she's, yeah, you can fly, but I'll be right behind you.
As soon as she left, Sam, I'm not gonna lie, I cried.
Yeah, it's sad. It's life changing. It is. We love our moms and we want to spread our rings, but it's really hard for us to make that jump.
Yep, I cried and I was like, Mom, I had this realization. I was like, wow, it hit me just then when she left that I'm actually here alone. I'm
Yeah.
like, Lorenz, you don't even know how to get to the Wendy's up the street anymore because you're not from this area. Okay. So you need GPS to go up the street. So at this point, like you have to figure this out. And I feel like these challenging moments like this make you grow. They help you grow. So like at the end of the day, I knew it was going to benefit me more than hurt me. You have to go through the hurt sometimes to go through the benefit. So I'm there the first semester. I'm down bad. I'm like, Mom, honestly, like I worked at Food Line. Food Line manager doesn't sound too bad. I'm like, Mom, like anything. I'm just like, I don't know if this is working out for me. I don't know. But like I had a great support system when I first arrived there from Kent State. And I do speak highly of that because they knew that I was away from home. We were online, but they also knew that I was one of the first. They had some minorities in their undergrad speech field, but when it came to graduate school, they had never worked with a male before regarding just African Americans and like being a speech therapist in that level. So they're really trying to make sure I'm okay. They're like, Lorenz, are you okay? I'm getting constantly checked on, just getting that support. I'm getting support from home and here. And yes, it's not family, but at the same time, I had something to hold on to and to push me because honestly, Sam, that first semester, I felt like I was like, I was like you said, the second week, I was like, I don't know what's going on anymore. I don't know what's going on. I'm like, I'm in Ohio, I'm in grad school, I have work to do up to here. I just don't know. I don't know what's going on. But I am 100% glad that I stuck with it and that I moved there that first semester because when everyone moved back that second year, I already knew where everything was. I'm like, oh, Wendy's, you go up there, make a right. Go up to the street, make a right. Or go up to the street, make a left. I'm like, I know this area now because I familiarized myself with it. It was hard. I didn't know anybody, but I did it. So I do genuinely, I do not regret it. And I'm glad I moved there. The weather was a big change from North Carolina for sure.
Yeah.
Huge change. It snowed on my first year there. It snowed on Halloween.
What is this?
I see snow falling, and I'm like, everybody's still outside trick or treating. Ohio, people from Ohio, they're used to this. They're like, I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. So they're out there in their outfits, still trick or treating, and I'm like, Mom, it's snowing, and it's October 31st. I don't know what's going on, and I have a quiz tomorrow. So I'm like, help.
You won't catch me outside today, Mom.
You will not catch me outside. I'm inside. Heat blasting. So that's
Yeah.
how it was good though.
No, you touch upon a lot of good points. Even I can just see the comfort in you when you're talking about how much support you had in graduate school, because it makes so much of a difference. And that's always what I'm preaching when I'm talking like about grad schools in general. And I never want to make it seem like I'm like grad schools suck. I hate grad schools. No, every grad school has their pros and every grad school has their cons. And I just think that none of us are asking for grad school to be easier. But for a profession that's built on advocacy and support, why are we not supporting and advocating for our graduate students?
Exactly. That's how I feel. And that's why, Sam, real quick, I appreciate your page. I appreciate what you do just in general because you are literally the reason as to why I felt like I could do it at some points in this grad school experience. And I'm not just saying that because it's my first podcast or because I'm with you. I'm honestly saying that because I could resonate with you. I felt like I could connect with you. I felt like I could relate. I was like, it's different when you're around people that you cannot relate to. I know you're doing it and I know I can do it because I have the capability, but I need to have that. Sometimes I need to just see somebody doing it and I can be like, okay, she can do it. We can do it. She actually giving us support. You're constantly giving us positive things to help us bring us up. And I think I remember reading your post one day and I was actually preparing for the practice. And you were just talking positivity about just how you can do it, how don't let yourself down if you don't pass the first time. Because I actually did not pass the first time. I passed the second time. So I was like, okay. I was like, Sam said I could do it. I can do this.
I appreciate that so much. It was hard for me to start talking about things that weren't spoken about to begin with. I'm someone who had to work my ass off, honestly, to get the grades that I did, and they were still kind of subpar. I'm someone that just things don't really come naturally to me. Like I'm constantly thinking of like funny tips and tricks on how to remember things because it just doesn't stick for me. I'm super type B. My brain is always all over the place. Yeah. But I was just like, hey, once I started my Instagram back in the pandemic, and all I saw really was just like perfect therapy lessons, people with amazing new clinic outfits and all this. And I was like, do I belong here? Because that is not me. Like I have papers all over the place. Like I'm lucky if I'm wearing like the same pants.
Matching socks.
Yeah. So I was just like, you know what? I promised to myself, I'm like, listen, if you're going to start this Instagram page, promise to always be authentically yourself. The good, the bad, the ugly, the nice, all of that, because there's going to be someone out there who's going to see a post that I make and feel like that they can take a deep breath and be like, it's going to be okay. Like I consider myself a pretty successful SLP. I passed the praxis by 1 point. I got a failing grade in graduate school. There are so many things that I can tell you about that would make me kind of feel like a failure, but I'm just like, I'm embracing it. I'm not perfect. No one is out here. So the more we talk about the more that we'll get rid of this whole perfectionism standard in graduate school and speech pathology as a whole. Because quite honestly, not a single SLP out there is perfect. If you reach that perfectionism standard, then you stop learning. And in this profession where evidence-based practice is continually changing, our therapy techniques are continually changing. If you're going to be perfect and stop learning, then you're doing it a disadvantage to yourself and your clients.
Exactly. And that's how I feel. And I genuinely was just like, wow, I just appreciate that. I genuinely do. Because I just feel like you don't see that often. You don't see it often. I didn't see it at all until I saw your page, honestly. And your page was just in our cohort. And my cohort, if they're listening to this, when they hear this, if they do hear this, we loved your page, Sam. We were always like, let's look at Sam's page. What did she say about this? I know she said about this. Because it was relatable. And like you said, things are changing, times are changing. Speech therapists that started 40 years ago, I respect them so much and all they have to bring to the table. But then our generation, we're coming in, we have new ideas. We have different ways that we want to do things. We're not all type A, we're not all type B. Actually, right now, my supervisor, she's more type A and I'm more type B. But like we found a way to take our ways and to make sure that we're both meeting our goals for each other when it comes to what we need to do. And I think that's how it should be. It shouldn't be like everyone's type A. And because like, where's the differences? Where's the diversity? Because when kids come in or adults come in, everyone's not the same. So why should the therapists all be the same? That's my thought process on it.
Yeah, no, you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly, why I started talking about this, because I was like, I cannot be the only one who after 7 years of undergrad and grad school combined I'm Googling stuff that I 100% need to know. But like we learned so much in grad school. My
Oh
brain
my
never
goodness.
retained all of that. There's
Oh my
no
goodness.
way. There is no way. So I'm like,
Yes.
what's the difference between phonology and phonetic? Only one that's doing this. And then
You're
like
not.
it just comforts me when I see so many people able to relate to that stuff because I'm just like, I feel like everyone just needs to be themselves. Like we're not, and this generation, the next couple of years and the past couple of years, I want to say after COVID,
Right.
this slew of grad students and CFs and new SLPs, y'all are firecrackers. Like you guys are not afraid to stand up for what you deserve. And you guys are
Exactly.
going to change the world of speech pathology. And I am so happy to be a part of that and help you guys. I use my platform for telling stories like yours and just getting people out there to be more relatable. And it's amazing because like you said, this generation is going to be pretty cool to watch to see the changes.
Right.
When we're in front of our clients, we're not afraid to say, hey, I'm having a really bad day.
Exactly.
You know?
Because they have bad days. We're human. We're allowed to have bad days. We're allowed to have
Yeah. And just like kind of my page like helps you guys feel relatable, you guys are helping your clients feel relatable. Even you as a Black male in a predominantly white female run profession, good for
Exactly.
you because you are going to make those young Black boys feel so welcomed and so at home to see a professional like you in a seat like you are, treating them and making them feel at home, making them feel, hey, I was in your seat once. You can be just like me when you grow up. Like that is life changing.
I say that all the time, actually. I say that.
Yeah.
I have a few kids now that they'll see me. Some of them call me dad.
That's funny. That's funny.
They call me dad because I am in a military town. Fathers, they get
Yeah.
placed here, placed there. They're gone for this time of months or that time of months. Like you said, they see me, they feel welcome, and I'm just being myself. I'm like, hey, buddy, you ready to go play? You ready to go do some therapy? You ready to go do this, that, and the third? And they're just excited just because I look like them. And one kid actually told me, hey, you look like me. And he pointed at his skin, and I was like, yeah, I do. And I was like, and you can do this too if you want. You can do whatever you want to be. You can do
Yeah.
whatever you want. Honestly, like don't let anyone ever tell you that you can't do something based on the way you look because you can do it. And
Yeah.
that's like what I love about this field too. And I'm praising being Black and being a male right now because I'm like, I love that I can do this. I love that
Yeah.
I can do this, honestly.
Yeah. And not many people were supportive of you. Can you tell us a little bit about what tried to stop you and what you kind of felt during that moment?
So I was actually on a run. I had just moved to Kent State, moved to Kent, Ohio. And I just want to start first by saying I don't think that what happened to me, this situation, has anything to do about the speech program there. I just think it's more about just in general. This is a widespread university, a very big university in Ohio, and people do discriminate, sadly. So I'm on a run. Okay, I'm feeling good. I had just passed my quiz in articulation and phonology. I was like, I'm feeling good. I'm going on a run. I go on a run, and there's rocks all over the campus. And I had actually seen this rock prior to, I think it was like a week before I went on this run. And it was decorated for the Black Lives Matter because it was during the George Floyd, it was during like that whole
Yeah.
time. So I'm here and I'm just like, wow, like I felt that actually helped me. Like coming to Kent State and seeing that, predominantly by PWI, you don't see the culture change from North Carolina to Ohio was
Yeah.
different. So I'm just like, wow, like it was good to see that support was there. And then next thing you know, I'm on a run, and then I see this rock that is defaced, and it's the same rock that I saw a week prior that had the Black Lives Matter decorations on it, and it had the hands and everything, BLM, and it was up there, and it was defaced, completely covered. You could not see anything regarding Black Lives Matter, anything like that, just nothing at all. It was just like completely covered, and it said, "Blacks have no home here." So this is again my first month of being here. I'm already in my head. I'm already missing my family. We have that work piled up to here. I'm trying to figure out my schedule regarding how I'm going to do this as a therapist or how I'm going to do this as a clinician in general. I'm going from being a student in undergrad to being a clinician like this. All of these things are going through my head. And I was like, wow. So I called my mom and I took a picture and I was like, wow, like I made a whole Instagram post. I was like, it's sad to see that this is still happening in today's time because We've had a Black president at this point. We've had a lot of the people that have been like, we've been rising up in a sense when it comes to just like minorities and just being able to represent, and that we can all do. Everyone is welcome. I do genuinely believe that all lives do matter. But at this point, we were going to do some Black Lives Matter things. So I just feel like in general, this is a time to uplift the Black people, just so that we can continue to let them know, hey, we support you. We all support each other. When I saw that, that all plummeted because I felt like, one, I'm in an area I don't know. And then I don't even know who did it. I'm like, I don't know who's around me. It could be the kid in my class. It could be somebody that I work with. It could be anybody, because I had a graduate assistantship there too. So I'm like, who knows what it was? Who knows who did it? And I think to this day, nobody still knows actually who defaced the rock. But I just want to say, just in general, like, I felt down, and if that's what they wanted to accomplish, I did feel down. As a Black man coming to Ohio, I did feel down. But like Beyonce said, you give yourself only a few minutes, a day, a little bit of time to feel down, and then you have to rise up above it, because if you continue to go down, then I just feel like you let them win. So I took a picture of that rock, moved on, later found out that I was the first African-American male in this program, this graduate level program, to have gone through here. So I'm like, okay, Blacks have no home here, according to whoever defaced the rock, but I'm here and I'm making history right now. So I'm like, it didn't faze me after a while. At first it did. And I'm not going to lie, it did faze me because I didn't know this area. I didn't know where I was. I didn't know anything about anything.
It hurts.
It genuinely hurt it. It really did hurt it. Is that the word? Hurt. It genuinely hurt. Not hurt it. It genuinely hurt. But then after, I think by the third semester, I kept that picture on purpose because I was like, but when I graduated, I knew for a fact that I was going to graduate. I was like, I'm not going to come to Ohio and not get this degree.
Yeah.
I'm not going to beat this rock and let them win. I'm not going to sit here and be told that I can't do this because of my skin color. That's not what's going to happen here. Not at all. And I'm one of those people that, like, I like a challenge. So I was like, oh, this is a challenge.
That's what I was going to ask. Did it fuel you or did it just dampen you?
Oh, it dampened at first, but then it filled me. I was like, this is a challenge. My dad, my mom, all of the professors, everyone, they were all behind me. My cohort members, like everyone behind me, they were like, Lorenz, you can do this. Yes, I'm a unicorn. They called me a unicorn all the time because like, you don't usually see a Black male in the field. And then like, I'm very loud, and like my personality is like on a scale of 1 to 10, I feel like it's 11 sometimes. I'm just always, I don't know.
Good for you. Yeah.
So I felt like I had the support, and I just felt like I could do this. So I kept going pushing. I graduated, and then I looked back at that picture. I took that picture. I looked at the date. It was in September of 2020. I took that picture.
Scary time.
Scary time. September 2020. And I look back now in 2023 or in 2022 when I graduated, and I'm like, Lorenz, I'm so proud of you for just continuing to push, because I'm telling you, Sam, and this is okay. This is what I want everyone to hear as well. Like, you will get down. Like, I had to call my mom constantly throughout the day. She constantly called me. My anxiety was really bad. I was not eating. I wasn't sleeping very well. I just didn't know if this is really going to work out for me. So I ended up going to my on-campus doctor, and I was like, I'm not eating, I'm not sleeping. They helped me with my anxiety a little bit. They gave me some things I could do to help with my anxiety. Those really helped. I took my mental and my self-care so serious.
Yeah.
And anyone around me, I just smiled. I would get ugly faces here and there. My first clinical observation, my first clinical placement, not my first, but it was my last placement of the grad school experience, but it was my first day. Got flicked off. Walking into the clinic, flicked off. I'm like, people just don't like the way you look. That's fine, but I'm going to smile. I just smile now. Now I just smile, Sam.
You killed them with kindness.
Kill them with kindness. But like you said, that post you had today, it said, kill them with kindness, but take no bullshit. That's literally me. Yeah. I'm going to kill them with kindness, but I'm not going to
let you overstep.
No, because then you win. You're not going to win this. I can do this too. And if you want me to help you, I can help you. But if you don't, because, of your preferences, that's fine. But I'm going to still do what I'm doing, and I'm going to smile and be happy about it, because nobody can take that from you. And that's what this whole story about myself, I feel like, is like the key in my head. I'm like, nobody can take that from you.
Yeah. And let me tell you, they can't win because you already won.
Exactly. Oh,
you already proved them wrong. You already killed them with kindness. And the best thing that you could have done was just not react. You just showed them quietly, this is what I can do. I made history. you can stay in the dust if you want, you can stay years behind, but this is what we're doing now. I think you bring up a really good point, and it was really brave of you to go to your doctor and take a step back and realize, hey, I'm not taking care of myself. What can you do for me? And that's the biggest thing I tell graduate students. I'm like, as professionals of communication, you have to communicate what your needs are.
Exactly.
No one in graduate school is going to say, hey, did you eat today? Nope.
Right.
You're going to have to find the time to eat. And I think that's what makes grad school so hard. There's so much going on at once, and everything is so new that we immediately just put everything in front of taking care of ourselves. And when our mental health and our physical health and our bodies are shutting down on us, then we're dealing with that on top of graduate school. And it feels like your world is absolutely shutting down. The amount of times I've heard from graduate students who said they had their first panic attack. I had my first panic attack last week, and it was absolutely probably one of the scariest things ever, because I was like, am I dying? What the heck is happening?
You don't know what it's like, a life change. You're like, I don't want to know what's going on.
Yeah, I like said to my boyfriend was like, what happened? I was like, I don't know. Like, my chest is tight, like my arm is numb. Going through all of that like mental and health stuff on top of being a graduate student is so hard. And that's why I tell graduate students, when you walk in that door, I don't care what any professor, supervisor, grad chair says, there's not a single thing that is more important than your mental health in graduate school. And you make that known to them.
Exactly.
If you have a death in the family, if you have a sick family member, that's time you can't get back. You go and take care of them. You go and spend time with them. Grad school can wait.
Grad school can wait. And that's what I'm glad you said that, because that is what I think grad students fail to realize. They're like, no, I have to do this. And that's what my thought process was when I first started. I'm like, I don't care about anything else but getting this work done.
Yeah.
And then that's when I think that's when I started plummeting when it came to like my self-care, my mental health, my eating, my sleeping, because I didn't want to, but life still goes on. You have to continue to make sure that you have the things in order that you need to make sure are important to you. Make sure that those are taken care of so that you can get that out of your brain, or so that you can push it to the back ends of your brain in a sense, so that you can focus on what needs to be focused on. And that's what I learned, because nobody told me that, Sam. I wish I came across your page before I started grad school, so I could have been a little more, okay, I can do this. But I'm glad I did come across it eventually. But at that moment, I was like, I just needed to hear that. Like, Lorenz, it's okay. Life is still going on. You're allowed to miss your family. You're allowed to get homesick. You're allowed to go to the doctor and tell them that you're not doing this, that, and the third, and you're worried and you're concerned. Some people don't want to do that because it has a bad connotation with it. Yeah. Which I feel like I really would like to change. I would really like that to change just in general regarding mental health, because if your mental is not there, then what can you do?
Yeah. And we have this kind of idea in our head that, especially as speech pathologists, I think that whoever like wants to become a speech pathologist has the biggest heart ever. We're constantly wanting to fill other people's cups, where we want to be a speech pathologist so bad, and we know what we have to do in order to get there. And it just takes so long for us to realize that the habits we're creating in graduate school, like the constant looking at our email, boundary setting, saying, oh, I'll eat later, being in class for 5 hours, all of those habits you're creating now are going to be so hard to break once you graduate. It's not, okay, I graduated, all those habits are bye. No, those habits are going to turn into an 80 student caseload. You're going to have 15 IEP meetings per week. Yeah. And you're going to have such a hard time saying no, because you created those habits in graduate school. You are not a bad graduate student if you take a day off. You are not a bad graduate student if you fail a test.
Preach it, Sam. Preach.
You are not a bad grad student if you're not perfect.
Exactly.
If you are a perfect grad student, then there is something wrong.
Exactly. And you cannot compare. That's one thing too. I compared myself with so many members of my cohort. It takes me a little longer to click with some things. Okay. Like the third time around, I might get it. The first and second, I might still be asking questions.
I'm like that too.
That's how I've been built. Ever since I was younger, I've always had to have a little more support. And I would be like, wow, Lorenz, like my first semester, I was like, compared to my cohort members, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to make it through this. But you cannot compare yourself to others, because it's like we're all different.
You know what? Having that mentality and knowing how you are and how much support you need, and same with me, because I'm the same exact way, you're going to give that a tenfold to your clients and say, okay, I know you need help. How can I help you? What can I do? At what point in this process do you need my help with? And that is the stuff That is the qualities of the speech pathologist that a praxis, that a grad school application, that any test from grad school can never test.
Exactly. Exactly. And I love that. Like I genuinely am so glad I did this. Like overall, looking back now, just looking back in general, like in my experience, I'm just like, Lorenz, there's nothing I would not change. I wouldn't change them to facing the rock. I wouldn't change them. I wouldn't change them saying things, whatever they said. I would not change any of the whole process because where I am now, I can literally tell everyone about this story and how I felt. And none of my, although I had like my friends, I had so many good close friends in graduate school that I made, and I'm so thankful for them. But again, at the end of the day, no one looks like me. So like I knew that they really like they were there to support me, but they couldn't really understand how I really felt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So again, I'm just glad. I'm so thankful, and I'm so glad to be in this opportunity, be here in this opportunity right now, just to be able to express this story. Because again, like you said, those kids that are looking at me and like even like family members, like you would not believe how many family members look at me and they're like, oh, I want my kid to be seen by you just because of the way you look, because
Yeah.
they need to be either around a male or they need to see that a black male can do this.
Yeah. Black
It's,
successful male.
yeah, there's a lot of family of color, but they're just like, wow, how old are you? How long have you been doing this? You're doing this so great. I'm like, a lot of questions. But I'm just like in general, I'm like, I'm just glad. I'm just so thankful. I'm so thankful. I really am.
Yeah, no, I'm just so happy that I have a platform for you to be able to share your stories because there are going to be more males. There are going to be more
Yes.
Black males entering this field, and we want it. We see how much the diversity and the representation matters, especially for the clients that we treat, the populations that we treat. Black boys, Black boys and girls probably see you and they have some sort of comfort.
Yeah.
They see someone who's just like them. They see a successful person who's just like them. They know that they can get there one day. Even just your presence is probably so comforting to them.
Yeah.
But this was an amazing conversation. You are an amazing person. I'm so proud of you for not letting any of those kind of bumps in the road tear you down because I know how easy it is to let those get to you. Keep killing it. Your attitude is freaking amazing. Like you're just a ray of sunshine when you walk into a room, and it's just so great to know you. Do you have any advice you can give advice for just graduate students, males, Black professionals, whatever you want to go? I'm giving you the mic to give all that advice you have.
Oh, the pressure.
No pressure.
So honestly, when it comes to graduate school, I would just say do not let anyone or anything stop you from your goals. I did write my goals down when I started because I do feel like when you manifest your goals, when you manifest them, when you write them down and you see them, that your just in general your ability to complete those goals is more. You feel like you have it, you can do it, and you can see it. I put it right above my bed. I'll put it in my bathroom on the mirror. I literally have it right now in my bathroom in the mirror. I have my goals for right now for my clinical fellowship. You have to write your goals out and just take the time to honestly like have that time for your mental sake, because I feel like that's what I didn't do my first semester. I did not take time for my mental. I did not. And I was like, okay, if I don't do this, then I'm going to miss this and I'm going to miss this. Just breathe. Just take a deep breath. It's okay to go to the doctor. It's okay to go talk to someone. I had a therapist that I was speaking to my first year, my first semester. It's okay. Do what you need to do to take care of yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself, how can you take care of someone else? And just regarding like students of color, kids of color, anybody that's in school right now, that whether you look like me or whether you have a lighter skin or whatever the case may be, just in general, or whether you're white, it doesn't matter. Whether you have any pigmentation or whatever, I just want you to know that you can do this, but at the end of the day, you have to believe in yourself. Because I had a lot of times where I felt like if I didn't tell myself I could do it, everyone's telling me I can do it. Everyone, the whole world can tell you can do it, but until you believe you can do it, it does not. It does not matter. You have to have that time in yourself to believe that you can do it, and whatever you need to do to get to that point to where you can believe in yourself, you're golden.
Yeah.
Because nobody can stop you. You're literally flying. Like nobody can stop you. Once you get on that road and you're cruising, nobody can stop you. You just keep on going. You get a bad grade, okay. Next quiz. I have a quiz next week. I can't cry about this quiz right now because I have to prepare for my quiz next week.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna keep pushing. You know, it happens. If I counted how many bad grades or how many failing grades I had gotten in grad school, if I counted how many times I was in a session and I was like, oh my goodness, oh that session went horrible, or I was did I say that word wrong or this, that, and the third? I would have $1 million right now. It's not, don't even worry about that. Worry about how can you make yourself better in that situation. I ask 100 questions a day. My supervisors, anybody that knows me, they know I ask 100 questions a day. Excuse me. I ask 100 questions a day. I'm like, I want to know why or how or how did this connect to that? Ask the questions because a kid, even I have a kid now, she's scared to ask questions. She feels like she's bothering people. I'm like, girl,
Tell me everything. Lay it on me.
Questions. You're here to learn. We're in graduate school to learn. We're in undergrad to learn. Do not stop asking questions. Ask even if you feel like, and I had some questions I asked, I was like, okay, Lorenz, you probably should have known the answer to that. But I still asked it. You know why? Yeah. Because I want to know. I want to hear somebody else say that this is that and this is that. So my advice, keep pushing. Sam, I just want to say again, thank you.
Of course.
Thank you. This has been such a great opportunity. I literally, like I said, when I first got on this podcast, when I first got on this call, I was like, I feel like Sam is my celebrity in my life. I feel like she is here, and I look up to you, Sam. You are a voice for a lot of people. You really are, and you're just your personality, your vibe, everything that you bring to the table. I just really praise it, and I just want you to never stop, because we all are listening. We're all looking. Our whole cohort, literally, we were all on your page during the practice. We were all on your page during times when we just needed the uplifting or we needed to get our spirits lifted up. I would watch your videos and be like, okay, she's human. She's making jokes. She can smile. She's not just straight face like, I'm a speech therapist, I'm perfect. It's not like that. And that's not the real reality. And I just appreciate you giving us the opportunity to see that because we don't see that often. So again, thank you.
Of course. And thank you so much. I just want you to know, like, we're all in the same boat.
Yeah.
It's sink or swim. Why not help everyone? Wait, sink or swim? Why not
you're
help
right.
everyone else swim?
No, you're right.
I try to put these fancy quotes in, and sometimes I'm just like, I have no idea what I'm saying.
Literally same.
But yes, thank you so much. Do you want to let everyone know where they can find you on Instagram in case they have any questions or just want to reach out to you?
Of course. So my Instagram handle is Renz Christian. So that's REN 2 Z's. Christian, two Z's, and then Christian, so CHRISTIAN. And again, if you have any questions or if you want to reach out to me or have anything you want to say or just want to talk or you just have a question, please reach out. Like, I'm very open. I'm very susceptible to just like, we can have a whole conversation and I don't even know what you look like. I don't even know you, but we can have this conversation just because I want to make sure that everyone feels and has that support that I had when I was going through this.
You were awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for listening. I'm going to link his Instagram down in the bio in case you want to like a quick link to it. And that is it. Thank you so much.
Guys.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of What the Frickative Podcast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. We appreciate that effort as it helps others find the show. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode.